If you're in perimenopause or menopause and you're feeling stuck with fat loss and you feel like nothing you're doing is working anymore, you're not alone. And the answer isn't just to eat less and less and less. In this video, I'm gonna show you exactly what you need to do to break through fat loss plateaus so you can see that scale move and see your body change again without starving yourself or without wrecking your hormones in the process. It's worked for all of these ladies, so it will for you too. So the first thing you have to ask yourself, are you actually in a plateau? So there should be no movement on the scale for at least 21 days. You've been 90% consistent with your workouts and nutrition and even your steps, and there's no changes in your photos, your measurements, which you should be taking, I know a lot of you guys don't, or how your clothes fit. This is also important to note that hormonal shifts, water retention, and inflammation can make the scale feel like it's not moving. So don't confuse yourself that the scale goes up for a week or two, but then it comes back down again. You're really not in a plateau. It could have just been a higher inflammation week, or you're eating more carbs that week. So if you're really in a plateau, we're now gonna look at your hormones. We're gonna look at estrogen and insulin. So in menopause, typically estrogen declines, which causes more fat storage around the midsection, and it can slow down your metabolism a bit. Also on top of that, you're gonna have more insulin resistance, which means the carbs that you're intaking are more likely to get stored as fat, and you're gonna have more intense sugar cravings. You're gonna have worse blood sugar control, and it's gonna feel like fat loss is impossible. And how do you stop this from happening? You need to be lifting weights properly. We're talking 2 to 4 times a week consistently, because the more muscle mass you have in your body, the better your body responds to the intake of carbs and can actually produce it to muscle instead of putting it to fat. And to avoid our blood sugar crashing up and down, we wanna avoid high processed sugary carbs. So we're talking about limiting pastries, cookies, and ice cream. Not completely cutting out, but limiting. So if we wanna control our blood sugar a little bit more, every single time we're eating carbs, we wanna pair that with a fat or a protein. That will keep your blood sugar more stable and keep you fuller for longer. And this little hack that I tell our ladies all the time is when you're eating, try and eat your protein first before going into the starchy carbs, like the bread or the rice. So now we're gonna be talking about muscle mass. So loss of muscle technically is called sarcopenia. With age, women typically drop in estrogen and they naturally lose muscle mass year over year, especially if you're not strength training. And then the less muscle you have, the slower your metabolism. This means fewer calories burned at rest just doing nothing. The more muscle mass you have, the more calories you will burn throughout the whole day. You fix this by focusing the majority of your energy on strength training and trying to progress every single week or every second week with either a little reps or a little bit of weight, so that you can maintain your muscle mass or even build your muscle mass to increase your metabolism. If you take our client Kendra here, she was not strength training and she looked like this. Now she's been lifting weights with me for over a year and now she looks like this. Now we're gonna be talking about your sleep. You got hot flashes, night sweats, anxiety, this can wreck your sleep quality. And then when sleep goes down, cortisol goes up. That means more cravings, more belly fat, and more water retention. And this is the most important piece. It messes with your hunger hormones, ghrelin and leptin. You can think of ghrelin as your hunger hormone, grrr, and then leptin as your ability to feel full and satisfied. So leptin drops, your ability to feel full, and then ghrelin goes up, which is not a good combo. To fix this, taking magnesium glycinate has been really helpful for a lot of ladies. Avoid having caffeine after 1 p.m. And then for some ladies, actually having a bedtime snack around like 1 to 2 hours before bed can help regulate your cortisol levels throughout the night. This is gonna be something like a slow digesting carb paired with a fat or protein. Something like oatmeal and berries with some protein powder would be great. You obviously want to avoid the high processed sugary carbs before bed, so no cake before bed. And then lastly, your glass of wine at night is not helping your sleep. You can cut that out. And then let's be honest, midlife is absolutely crazy. You are dealing with a lot of stress. You probably have aging parents, you may even still have kids at home, or they just left, but you have a lot of responsibility still in your life with your busy career. Then menopause hits and then you feel like you're drowning. The thing is, if you're in a high stress state all the time and your cortisol is chronically elevated, you are not going to make good decisions with food and you're also not gonna have good sleep quality. So the one thing we implement in ladies that join our program is some type of meditation, journaling, or prayer every single week. We also recommend a 20 to 30 minute walk daily outside, not on a treadmill or not in a gym. Simply by being out in nature has been proven time and time again to reduce stress levels. And I also recommend trying to stay under 300 milligrams of caffeine every day. You can still have your cup of coffee, but you just gotta limit it. And then if you're doing the wrong type of workouts, that's gonna add more stress onto your body. So we wanna avoid spin classes, boot camp classes, or a lot of classes in your gym, unfortunately. The reason being, these classes get your heart rate super elevated, but if you're already in a stress state and then you put your body through a hard workout like that, it's just gonna make things worse. So instead, Instead, that's why we focus on low impact strength training, which is actually less stressful in the body, and you should have more energy leaving that workout than when you entered that workout. And the thing you have to understand, what worked in your 20s or 30s may not work anymore. So what that means, you need to stop trying to eat so little throughout the week that you can barely hang on for dear life because you're tired, exhausted, and then the weekend hits, and then you go crazy on food every single time. We need to stop focusing on cardio as the priority and breathing heavy and sweating more, and focus on slowing it down and weight training in the gym or at home. Next, we're gonna be talking about the dynamic duo fiber and protein. So when you eat protein, you actually burn more calories just digesting that protein compared to carbs and fats. So the more protein that you have in your diet, your body has to use more energy and burn more calories to digest that protein. This is called the thermic effect of food, TEF. So that's why we always recommend getting around 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound of your goal body weight. So for example, you're 200 pounds, you wanna get down to 150 pounds. So your goal weight's 150 pounds, you're gonna times that by 0.7 to 1, and that's gonna give you around 120 to 150 grams of protein per day. Next, we have fiber. The thing with fiber, we actually don't absorb all the fiber we intake. So if you're eating a high fiber diet, you're actually not absorbing all the calories that you're taking in, which is a good thing because fiber is gonna keep you fuller and keep you regular. So for every 1,000 calories that you're eating in your diet, you should be aiming around 15 grams of fiber per day. So if you're eating 1,000 calories, that'd be 15 grams of fiber. And if you're eating 2,000 calories, that'd be 30 grams of fiber. You're gonna get most of your fiber through complex carbs. You got beans, lentils, nuts, fruits, and vegetables. I'm personally not a big vegetable fan, so I crush a lot of fruit. I go with avocado as a lot of fiber. I go with raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, and I get 30 grams plus of fiber every single day. And then lastly, we're gonna be talking about inflammation and recovery. Inflammation rises as we age and recovery takes longer. If you can't respect that, fat loss is gonna stall. So here are the best things that you can do to lower inflammation and heal your gut too. And then lastly, I know this is hard for a lot of you, take a full rest day from working out, just go for a walk outside, something that's gonna be more restorative instead of putting more stress on your body. The bottom line here is you do not need to keep cutting your calories lower and lower to see results. You need to rebuild your metabolism by strength training and having the proper amount of the carbs, fats, and protein. And if this was helpful, make sure you subscribe and share this with another woman who needs it. And maybe you want some more one-on-one support with this, you can click the link below that says one-on-one coaching and apply for coaching to see if we can help. And I'll see you in the next video.